Ready? Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to beginner ukulele. Gotta have them change that sign. It says beginning ukulele. It's beginning ukulele. Last week we didn't have time to finish up talking about all of the natural or diatonic notes on the ukulele. That was presented to you on this particular handout, which was available last week. And by the way, there are no handouts for this week since we're going to continue what we started last week. Okay? So just to review what we did talk about, were the notes here and the way that they progress in terms of the diatonic scale. For each of these strings, G, C, E, A, which are your open strings for tuning, right? Okay, so each of these strings has presented in it this natural diatonic scale. And usually when we talk about scale, when we start practicing scales, we usually do start with the C, which is your third string, right? Your third string here on your ukulele. And a lot of times, if you are using a high G string on your ukulele, we typically tend to ignore the scale notes that are on your fourth string, the G string, okay? So if we were going to talk about the very beginning scales that would normally be C, we would start here on the third string, the C string. All right? And what we can very easily say is that on each of these strings, all the notes are repeated. Okay? So, for instance, if we just look at G, C, E, A, you will always find a G on the G string, a C, E, and an A, along with all the other notes in the scale. We go to the C, well, the G, E, and A are present, along with all the other notes of the scale. The E string will have the G, C, and A string, or notes, along with all the other notes of the scale. And, of course, the same thing applies to the A. All right? Now, when we talk about intervals, we have the frets that guide us through this process of understanding the distances or the degrees between these notes. And that is what the frets provide us here. The distance between a G, the open G, and an A, for instance, is a whole step, also called a whole tone, also referred to as two half tones or two semitones, okay? They're all interchangeable terms. So if you hear folks talking about them, well, you know, it's just a half step up. Well, half step is represented as one fret, okay? A whole step, of course, would be two half steps. All right, so a G is a whole step below an A. An A is a whole step above a G, right? It's another way of looking at it, okay? So what we're going to look at really are just going to be these natural tones, okay, the diatonic tones. Now, I want you to notice something, just looking at the G string. There are two sets of notes that are only a half step away from each other. And that would be B and C and E and F. All right? So in a natural diatonic scale, that will always be the case. When you look at every single one of these strings, you will see that those two sets, E and F, B and C, are half a step away from each other. Everybody else is a whole step away. The A and the B are a whole step away from each other. The D and the E are a whole step away from each other. The B and the C are the half a step, but the C and the D are a whole step away from each other. Okay? So that is true for every single one of these strings when we're looking at this, the scale notes, diatonic scale notes. And there is also mathematical applications here, because there are, in the scale, 7 natural tones, 7, right? G, A, B, C, D, E, F, F being the seventh tone, 7th degree or 7th interval from the G. And then when we get to the 12th fret of your ukulele, and if you have a soprano, it might be the very last fret that's on your ukulele before the ukulele joins the neck. For those of us with concert and tenor size ukuleles, that would be above the shoulder here, okay, before the neck joins the shoulder. But usually you'll see a dot there. There's usually a dot here on the 12th fret. So this G open here is also here on the 12th fret. It's just a whole octave away. Okay, it's a whole octave. And octave, of course, simply means 8. Okay, but there are 12 half steps before we reach this octave, and those are the half steps in between these whole steps, right? G to A. So this one here, this half step between the G and the A, okay, that's not accounted for. We haven't given it its scale note name yet, okay? But there are 12. You count your frets, and there's 12 frets up to this octave here, okay? So these are interchangeable terms as well, and just in terms of proximity, in terms of where this note is located. So as you see on your diagram here, G, C, E, A open is present here at the octave, G, C, E, A. Right, so everything's moving up towards the octave. And just like we count our strings from the bottom up, and we say this is the high and this is the low, it's the opposite. When we're going up the fretboard, we're moving in this direction. Okay, we're going up the fretboard. This is going down the fretboard. Okay, so it's the opposite. So we have to kind of wrap our minds around that and get used to thinking of it in those terms. Okay? All right, so we started out with our second handout. Here, the notes, playing the C and D notes. Okay? And they're highlighted in yellow. For those of you who printed out in black and white, you might want to highlight that later. Okay, so we're looking at C, the open C. A whole step away from the C is D. Right? So we go back and forth on it. C, D, C, D. Okay? Now this is going to help us to relate to beats within a measure. When songs are written, there's a particular rhythmic pattern that's applied to them. And that rhythmic pattern is contained within what is called a measure. Okay? So normally most songs nowadays are in 4/4 time. That means there are going to be 4 quarter beats within a measure. What's a quarter beat? Well, it's 4. It's a count of 4. All right? So if we played 4 quarter beats in the chord of C, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Those are 4 quarter beats. We can also apply to this 2 half beats, which is the equivalent of 4 quarter beats, but only the first and the third beat of the quarter beats are going to be played. So they're held, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we apply the same thing with the note, right? So if we played 4 C quarter beats, right? On C, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it's half beats, it's 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? All right, and then the other count that we're going to discuss here is a whole beat, right? It's 4 quarter beats. It's held for 1 whole beat. This is 4. It should be 1 whole beat. So let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So let's do whole beats, a measure of whole beats, a measure of half beats, and a measure of quarter beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So are you going to see this on the song sheets that you typically will use with ukulele? Not likely. Not very likely. The assumption is when you're working with lyric sheets, you're very rarely provided the number of measures that apply for these particular phrases of song. That's the beauty of ukulele, I think, because so much of it is really about listening and then regurgitating what it is you heard, to listen for changes in the ukulele chords. Okay? All right, so the next note, we've done C. Let's do B, okay? And let's do 1 whole beat. Make sure you change that. Change on your sheet to 1 whole beat, okay? And let's get our finger on the D note, and that's 2nd fret, string 2. And I'm using my 2nd finger, right? 1st finger, 1st fret, 2nd finger, 2nd fret, so forth and so on, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Let's do 2 half beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and our 4 quarter beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So we can now use these 2 notes. We can do 2 half beats of C and D. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's do a combination CD, CD, okay, of quarter beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do another combination, but this time holding the C for 2 quarter beats and the D for the other 2 quarter beats. So C is held on beats 1 and 2. D is held down for, or played for 3 and 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? We can do the same thing. Let's do it in reverse, where we have the D and the C share the half beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do our quarter beat combination, starting with D and C, 1, 2, 3, 4, alternating, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have our combination of D on beats 1 and 2, and C on beats 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's just to give you an idea of how we're keeping time. Those beats are very important as you are learning to form your chords. This right hand is supposed to be keeping time. This is your metronome, okay? Your very organic metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. Even if you're not strumming a chord, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you listen to a song and you're noticing that you're starting to move or groove with the movement of the song, well, your body is keeping that time, okay? When you're playing an instrument, a stringed instrument like this, your right hand, or whatever is your strumming hand, is the one that's going to begin keeping time, okay, on the instrument. And this is what you want to internalize. Eventually, you will internalize it so that you can, your body's going to automatically know the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Usually, when we make changes with on chords or with lyric sheets, if two chords share the same measure, then the first chord that appears in the measure will get 2 beats, and the second chord in the measure will get the last 2 beats. So beats 1 and 2 on the first chord, beats 3 and 4 on the last chord. A lot of folks get very confused because they think that the strum and the chord change is supposed to match precisely when a lyric is sung. And that is not at all the case. That's not at all the case. So what the instrument is doing is keeping a rhythmic time, okay? Rhythmic time. Melody is not concerned about that, okay? Because a melody can be sung on any one of those beats within a measure. Where it starts, actually songs rarely start on beat 1. Rarely start on beat 1. They would start on what is called a pickup note, which might be beat 3 or beat 4 of a song. And if you look at Can't Help Falling in Love, that is illustrated to you there, where you see those bar measures. Okay, the bar, it tells you where the measures begins and where it ends and where it starts for the next chord in the next measure. Okay, so we'll talk about that when we get into the Beyond Beginner session. Okay, all right, so that's your C, the C string, the notes that are on the C string. And let's go on to the E string. There are going to be 3 notes that we're going to look at on this handout here. Okay, and that is highlighted in pink to you. Okay, so here's E. Let's do a whole beat of an E. This is string 2, right? String 2, open. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do 2 half beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry. Okay, and then our quarter beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I try to, as much as possible, sing out the note, okay, so that my brain gets acclimated to the sound of the notes too, okay? Not just where it's located on the ukulele, but what does it sound like? What does it sound like? Okay? So next note is F, half a step away from an E, right? Which means it's only one fret from the E, the open E. Now we come to F. And let's hold that one for a whole beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? 2 half beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's do our quarter beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. All right, let's go on to G. A whole step from an F is a G, right? So it's 2 frets up. And I'm going to use my third finger because it's on the 3rd fret. A whole beat of G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's do 2 half beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do our quarter beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then let's do E and F, each with a half beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's funny, I started harmonizing, sorry, instead of singing the E note. La, 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 la. Okay, let's do the half beats on F and G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and let's do the quarter beats. You notice it's a little trickier, huh? Because you got 3 notes. So we're going to do 2 quarter beats of E, 1 quarter beat of F, and 1 quarter beat of G. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. E, E, F, G. E, E, F, G. Okay? All right, let's do this next combination. F, F, G, E. 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 And let's do the last combination. G, F, E, G. 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 All right, and I left the bottom one open for whatever combination you wanted to put together for yourself. So I left it blank just for you, okay? So that you can practice that on your own. All right. Any questions so far? I don't know if everybody's muted. I think a few people are muted, but okay. Any questions? Any raising of the hands, shaking of a emoji hand? We're all good? Hello, Kitty Sterling. Emily told me you were in class. Glad to have you. Hey, Marianne. I can finally see names. Cool. Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Everybody okay? All right. So remember now, on these sheets, probably okay, post updates. It's one whole beat. Okay, it's not 4 whole beats. Play 4 whole beats, but it's one whole beat. Okay. All right. Now, what I thought we'd do is Frere Jacques, right? Everybody remembers Frere Jacques, right? I know it's one of the very first songs that I learned in kindergarten. And it's just the first part of Frere Jacques. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping, Brother John, Brother John? Right? It does not include the second part of it because I wanted to concentrate on the notes on the C and E chord. Okay? So what does that tell you here? When we look at measure 1 and 2, we have quarter beats. When we look at measures 3 and 4, we have 2 quarter beats, and we have 1 half beat. Right? See that? 1 half beat. Now this is also an introduction of sorts to reading tab. Tab, okay? Tab, which is, for those who do not read music, tab has been used for some time now as an alternative. It helps folks to identify what string, also what fret is being played, okay? So you see here on your sheet the name of the string here, the open string, right? A, G, A, E, C, G. Okay, so here's your G right there. There's your G. That's this guy on the top, right? On the top of your ukulele. When you're looking at tab, the G is going to be on the bottom. Okay, like that. Okay? So you have to think through that process, because somehow that became more universal to place this note here, okay? Because when you're looking at it, you've got to be able to visualize where this note is. So here's your C string, and it says 0s. That means it's your open note, the open note of C. And then followed by a 2. That means you place your finger on fret 2 of your C string. Right? And then it says on the E string, your open E.
Carla, I'm sorry. Can you mute everyone? It's distracting. Somebody's playing.
Okay. Yeah, that's done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so here's your E. It's an open E. And then for the 4th beat, we return to the C string, to the open C string. All right, so this is what it's going to sound like. So open 2, open E, open C. Open C, there's my D on the C string, right? E open and C open. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Okay? Are you comfortable with that? You're good? Are you sleeping? So in this measure, the only time that you're touching the string or placing your left hand on the net is on the D. That's fret 2. Otherwise, we have an open C, Then we play the D on string 2, and we have an open E following that, and then an open C. Okay? So if you're not sure, that 2 means fret 2 of string C. All right? And that's a D. That's your D note. All right? As we stated here, right? C, D, E, and back to C. Okay? Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? All right. Now we're going to focus on the E string. And that's an open E to an F. That's on fret 1. See that? Fret 1. And then a G on fret 3. Brother John, Brother John. Okay? So let's try that together. Brother John, open E, F, G, open E, F, G. All right? And E is a quarter beat, F is a quarter beat, G is a half beat. So it's two beats, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. E, F, G. E, F, G. Open fret 1, 3. Open fret 1, fret 3. Okay? So that's tab. All right, so let's do it all together. Starting with our first measure. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. Let's start from the top. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. I'm going to call out the numbers. Open 2, open, open, open 2, open, open, open 1, 3, open 1, 3. Okay? So now you're playing tab. You're playing a song. You know, whole beats versus quarter beats versus half beats. Yeah? And knowing the names of the notes that are present on your string. Okay? So everything correlates to one thing. And it's making sounds come off of your ukulele by striking strings that have names to them. They have tones to them. They have a scale tone. G, C, E, A. And every fret that is on your ukulele has a note assigned to it. Okay? And we're addressing, for the sake of the diatonic scale, just the natural scale, what the natural notes are. Okay? There are, if you notice, none of these shows a sharp or a flat, right? There are no sharps or flats when we're dealing with this diatonic scale for C, or the C tuning. And your ukulele, by the way, is in C tuning. Okay, it's the lowest note that's present here. You notice how thick that string is compared to your other strings? That's the lowest note that you have present on your ukulele. Okay, so that's why your tuning is in C. Okay. All right, so do you have any questions? Do you have any questions about this? Because next week, what we're going to do is we're going to cover the other strings, and that way we can finish out our scale. We'll talk a little bit more about scale. Not so much that you learn how to play scales. When you listen to lead guitarists or pianists who like to do what we call riffing or doing leads, what are they doing? They're actually just playing scales. They're playing all kinds of variations of scales. When we strum, we're actually following a scale as well. We're just not playing all the notes of the scale independently, okay? We're bringing them together. And when we play chords, major chords, which is what's real typical for ukulele playing, is major chords for most players. We're talking about 3 notes that get pulled together, 3 of them, okay? And those 3 notes, we call them triads. And we will talk about triads as we move towards the end of the beginner session, because it will inform you better, you beginners, when you get into beyond beginner ukulele playing. Because understanding those triads is very helpful when you're trying to figure out the way a song moves melodically, okay? You notice too that when I was calling out those notes, C, D, E, F, G, that's a scale right there, right? C, D, E, F, G. I can go further, A, B, C, okay? So that covers an octave right there. There's the octave of C. It's also extremely helpful when, as I said, when you're trying to figure out a song, what was the next note that I heard playing when the melody changed? What chord am I supposed to play? Well, you can figure that out by learning your scale. And it also helps you to harmonize, okay? When I work with my bands and we're trying to figure out a 3-part harmony, we can look at the C and say that's 1, and an E is 3, and B is 7. So right there, that's a harmony of notes. It's a harmony of notes. La, 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 la. So imagine 3 human voices coming together on that. That creates that harmony. Versus C, E, G, C, E, G, C, E, G, la, 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 la. Okay, that's a triad also, right? 3 notes, 3 disparate notes. To create a chord, we need 3 disparate notes. So that's why learning this is going to help you. When you're looking at chord shapes, they should not be just simply dots on a sheet, right? Or things that you take your finger and you put it there because the dot says it's there. You've got to know that when you're creating chords, there's going to be at least 3 notes there, usually. It's not always, but at least 3 notes. So that will help you understand better the chords that you're playing. Okay, so hey, we've got 5 more minutes before the Beyond Beginner starts. So I wanted to cover the beginner ukulele strum patterns. I can't remember how far we went last week. I don't even know if we went there. But this shows you, let's see, there's 2 measures each, 2 measures here. So you can look at your chord, the chord chart that I sent out. I mean, you don't have to use mine because mine is not actually complete. It's a very shortened chart. If you've got chart books, and there are really good chart books out there. Mel Bay puts them out. Hal Leonard, Ukulele chord charts. For those of you who are going to be, who want to pursue your instrument playing further. They're very helpful. But if you just want to get your basic chords down, look at my chart and you'll be fine. All right? And also in the other handouts, I did provide things like a progression of chords for C and a progression of chords for F, I believe. So you can use those to help you along with your playing. And there were also, there's another printout that I sent out, that was on January 27, some practice exercises. I think that would be really helpful to you beginners as you explore further the chord shapes. There are some exercises there that will help you to become more dexterous as you shape your chords, okay? Somebody asked last week too about exercises. If you're new to your instrument, if you're older and you're suffering from, a little bit of joint pain, arthritis, make sure you have, okay, hold on. Make sure that you're, okay. Let me finish this, Crystal, and then I'll get to that question. Thank you. Okay, make sure that you're doing stretches, that you're trying to stay flexible, okay? Can they see me? I don't know if they can see me. I can see only this Word document. Okay, all right. Okay, so make sure that you're doing your stretches, okay? Do that kind of thing as best you can. You start hurting, stop. Don't go further. Don't do that, okay? Just don't do the rest of that. Okay, do I have the rest of the song? No, not for this exercise, because this was to concentrate on strings C and E, okay? So next week we should be able to finish out the song because we'll be covering string A. Okay? All right, so let's get on to some strums real quick. We just only got a couple of minutes for this. And what I want us to look at are the quarter beats, okay? And then I want us to just broach eighth beats, okay? Because I think you all have an understanding of quarter beats. So if we just took this first strum pattern, all downbeats, and we'll do C, one measure of C, one measure of A minor, one measure of F, and one measure of G7, and then we'll return to the C, okay? And when we return, just strum one time. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, G7, 2, 3, 4, and back to C, okay? When you're on your own, practice that. Practice all the chords that you can. Apply to them these measures, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Now, let's get to pattern 3, eighth beats. Okay, so we're going to subdivide those quarter beats. While we have the down strum, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have up strums on the ands, okay? Those are also called up beats. So on the numbers, they're down beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. In between the up beats are down, they're down beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, down beats, okay? In between the down beats are up beats. And. Okay? So how do we do this? In a single measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so you see how I mixed the two? I went with eighth beats and then I went to quarter beats. Then I want you to do the same thing too when you're practicing on your own. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay? So practice that. Look at this. Look at this sheet to practice that. Your downbeats. And then practice down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? All right. It's time for us to get on